वेबिनार में हमारे मुख्य अतिथि हैं मैडम शालू जी। इनके बारे में डिटेल, इनके इंट्रोडक्शन प्रिंसिपल मैम देंगे। और साथ में है प्रिंसिपल डॉक्टर सपना नंदा जी, प्रिंसिपल गवर्नमेंट कॉलेज ऑफ योगा एजुकेशन एंड हेल्थ सेक्टर 23 चंडीगढ़। और मेरे सहयोगी कुलवंत, योगा इंस्ट्रक्टर, मेरे साथ मेरे मित्र। और मैं रोशन लाल, योगा इंस्ट्रक्टर, गवर्नमेंट कॉलेज ऑफ योगा एजुकेशन एंड हेल्थ सेक्टर 23 चंडीगढ़। तो एक बार फिर से स्वागत करता हूं और एक रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहूंगा प्रारंभ में ही कि प्लीज अपना अपना माइक जो है वो म्यूट रखें। तो क्वेश्चन अगर किसी का होगा तो आप टाइप करके चैट बॉक्स में डाल दें। जो वर्बल क्वेश्चन होगा वो नहीं होगा, तो चैट बॉक्स में डाल दें। जैसे ही मैम का सेशन खत्म होगा तो फिर हम उसमें से क्वेश्चन मैम से पुट कर देंगे और फिर मैम उसका आंसर दे देंगे। तो ये कुछ इंस्ट्रक्शंस थी और एक बार फिर से सभी का स्वागत करता हूँ। लवली पब्लिक मेंबर्स, छोटे बड़े, तो जैसे टीचर के लिए सभी बच्चे होते हैं, तो चाहे वो उम्र कुछ भी हो, योगा वालों के लिए सभी बच्चे होते हैं। जब मैट पे होते हैं तो बच्चे ही हैं। तो सभी का, प्यारे प्यारे बच्चों का बहुत अच्छे से स्वागत। और इस सेशन का आज आप पूरा लाभ उठाना कि जैसे इसका नाम है कि योगा एंड माइंड। तो शरीर तो हम स्वस्थ रखते ही हैं योग से, कि शरीर हमारा आसन कर लिए, प्राणायाम कर लिए, शट कर, तो ब्रेन जो है, ये टॉप फ्लोर, आई कॉल इट टॉप फ्लोर। तो इस टॉप फ्लोर को हम किस तरह से साफ सुथरा रखें, इसके अंदर फिजिकल लेवल पे जो है उसको किस तरह से स्वस्थ रखें, माइंड से जो थॉट आ रहे हैं उनको किस तरह से बैलेंस करें। तो हमारा सौभाग्य है कि मैडम शालू हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं आज। और कुलवंत मेरे सहयोगी, वो हमें ध्यान का थोड़ा अभ्यास कराएंगे उसके बाद। तो आइए एंजॉय करते हैं इस सेशन का। और अभी मैं इनवाइट करता हूं मैडम प्रिंसिपल डॉक्टर सपना नंदा जी को कि वो मैडम शालू के बारे में ब्रीफ इंट्रोडक्शन दें और उनका स्वागत करें। जी मैम। मैम माइक माइक ऑन कीजिए मैम।
सभी को बड़ा प्यार भरा नमस्कार एंड वेरी प्लेजेंट इवनिंग टू ऑल। ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ Faculty of Government College of Yoga Education and Health, I extend a very warm welcome to all our esteemed viewers who have joined us today evening on this webinar, Yoga for Mind and Ways to Keep Our Brain Young. At the outset, I would like to share a beautiful saying that we are not human beings with spiritual existence. We are spiritual beings with human existence. Spiritual being means we are souls wearing this human costume. And human word is derived from word humus, which means soil. That is, our body is made up of 5 elements of nature, that is, ether, earth, water, air, and fire. And human body without a soul is actually soil, that is made up of these 5 elements. And soul is the real driving force of this human body, that is vehicle which we are driving. Our human soul has 3 main faculties: mind, intellect, and sanskars. Mind, मन बड़ी सूक्ष्म चीज है, लेकिन हर कोई जानता है, छोटा बच्चा भी जानता है कि मेरा ये खाने को मन है या खेलने को मन है या पढ़ने को मन नहीं कर रहा। हालांकि दिमाग की तरह हम इसे डायसेक्ट करके देख नहीं सकते ब्रेन को, लेकिन फिर भी बच्चा जानता है ये सूक्ष्म अवस्था है। सेकंड, इंटेलेक्ट, बुद्धि। बुद्धि बताती है कि हमारे लिए क्या सही है, क्या गलत है। माइंड वकील का काम करता है तो बुद्धि जज का फंक्शन प्ले करती है। और तीसरी फैकल्टी है संस्कार। हमारे संस्कार जो हमने इस जन्म में एक्वायर किए हैं या पास्ट जन्मों से कैरी फॉरवर्ड किए हैं, वो हमारे संस्कार जो कि हमारी पर्सनैलिटी डिटरमिन करते हैं। सो माइंड, आज हम माइंड के बारे में बात करेंगे। योगा फॉर माइंड। माइंड इज द सटल फैकल्टी ऑफ सोल which has very immense potential. Only 10% of our mind is conscious mind, जो हम जागते समय अपनी चेतन अवस्था में करते हैं, और 90% is subconscious mind, जो कि हमारा सबकॉन्शियस माइंड हर समय एक्टिव होता है. However, power of mind depends upon what we feed it, how we nurture it, how we nourish it. और हमारी माइंड का भोजन है हमारे विचार और थॉट्स. What we sow, so shall we reap. And quality of our thoughts create different feelings in our mind, and feelings create different emotions. And these emotions build our attitude, whether positive or negative. And these attitude, when we repeat these attitudes, these create our habits, and habits carried over a prolonged period of time make our personality. And what our personality is, that determine our destiny, and so is the universe made. और सच कहा गया है, संकल्पों से सृष्टि की रचना होती है. However, only a negligible portion of our mind, power of mind, is we use it. It is utilized, and 98% of the potential of mind remains unutilized or underutilized. So we are here to discuss how to increase the power of our mind and ways to keep our brain young, active, dynamic. We have Madam Shalu Gupta with us today in this webinar. Madam Shalu Gupta, she is a pharmacist, she is a yoga teacher and a medical writer. She got her credentials from International Sivananda Yoga Vedanta Center from Kerala, and Madam has been teaching at Sivananda Center in Los Angeles as well as in Gurugram. And presently, in this time of pandemic, she has been taking yoga classes online, and she has spent more than 15 years working as a pharmacist in India as well as abroad, especially in Australia and New Zealand. Madam Shalu has written and published number of articles in magazines, books. She has submitted articles for our college magazine also, our college newsletter also, and she is involved with our activities to a great extent. We welcome you, ma'am, and we are really grateful to you for sparing your precious time and being with us, for sharing your knowledge, wisdom, and experience in the field of yoga and meditation. We welcome you, ma'am. Thank you so much for being with us. And over to you, ma'am.
Namaskar. Thank you, Sapna ma'am, for your kind words. So we will start our session. So today we will do brain fitness. First, we'll try and understand why we need to do it, how to do it, and then we will learn yoga and meditation to boost the power of it. Do you walk into a room only to forget what brought you there? Or you run into someone you have known for many, many years and his or her name slipped your mind? Or you engage in a frantic search for your missing car keys and other everyday items? Then you're not alone. There are a few other people. Let me share. There are a few other people. So I hope the screen is visible.
Ma'am, do it full screen.
Full screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Now it's okay.
So there are unfortunately few other people. So of course we have a cell phone, but we don't know where we have kept our cell phone. So our brain plays a phenomenal role in carrying out simple everyday tasks. And like our body, it also needs nourishment and energy. Exercise. Unfortunately, it changes as we get old, and so does the mental function, which can increase our risk of later developing diseases like dementia, with impaired mental ability, Alzheimer's, with impaired memory, and many other neurological conditions. Now, scientists once thought that our brains stop developing after first few years of life, but fortunately, a lot of research in the field of neuroscience has revealed that we can develop alternate pathways and create neurons, which are brain cells, even in adulthood. And the process is neurogenesis, which helps to improve and prevent disease. So let us learn some ways to reduce the risk of early memory loss. So few things that you can do. First is exercise your mind. So use it or lose it. So when we do any mentally stimulating activity, it helps to create alternate pathways in our brain. So we can try to do mental gymnastics, that is crossword puzzles, anti-aging games, then playing chess, bridge, or even experiments that require manual dexterity. For example, creating artwork, so precise movement. Then if the activity is fun and enjoyable, it's even better. So learn a musical instrument, hit the dance floor, but unfortunately, activities like afternoon nap and watching television do not help. Now, the other thing is physical exercise. So, fast walking for at least 30 minutes a day, or any aerobic activity like riding a bike, swimming, all of them increase flow of oxygen-rich blood towards the brain and eliminate toxins. Now, brain boosting foods. So, diet plays a crucial role. So, try to eat Mediterranean based diet, which emphasizes on eating plants, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts. Then there are a lot of unsaturated oils like olive oil, and they also include oily fish. Then other brain boosting foods are foods rich in flavonoids. So there is blueberries, then there are walnuts, pumpkin seeds, avocado, tomatoes, then pulses and seeds, and a lot of coffee, caffeine, and green tea, full of antioxidants. Now coming to intermittent fasting. So next slide. Okay. Now, we all know that fasting is very helpful to lose weight, but research has shown that fasting also improves our health, including health of our brain. So let's consider our prehistoric ancestors. They used to hunt and gather food they ate. They couldn't just open the fridge when they were hungry. So when the body goes without food, then it increases brain's natural growth factors, which promotes the growth and survival of neurons. So without going into details about how it works, let's look at the options. So there is intermittent fasting, which has become extremely popular, though it's a very old technique, which was practiced by our own rishis. So either you can fast for 16 hours. So in case you have the last meal of the day at 8 p.m., breakfast at 12 noon the next day, or you can go for 5-2. So eat for 5 days, fast for 2 days, but make sure they are non-consecutive days. Now, one more thing that we can do for our brain is neurobics, that is aerobics for our brain. So simply switching hands to do simple things. In case you are a right-handed person, use your left hand to do activities like brushing your teeth, stirring sugar in your tea or coffee, to even sending text messages. That creates alternate pathways in the brain. And travel. Travel is very helpful. So in case you go to your office, you can try to take an alternate route and don't use the GPS. Research done on London taxi drivers revealed that their brain, the memory center in their brain, is larger than an average person's memory center. And the hippocampus, which is the area responsible for memory and spatial recognition, is measurably larger than that of a bus driver who follow the same route every day. And London taxi drivers have to memorize the map of the whole city. Now, one more thing that is extremely useful is building social networks. So people who have strong emotional and social ties, they reduce the risk of cognitive decline, that is mental decline, and also improve their life expectancy. So try to join an activity that you are very passionate about. You can join online groups. Now, things to avoid tobacco in all its forms and limit your intake of alcohol. Then one more thing that we can do is to get adequate sleep. So aim to get at least 7 to 8 hours, as sleep rejuvenates our brain. And protect your head. So any injury in our early life, whether it's moderate or severe, increases our risk of cognitive decline later. So always wear a helmet while riding a bike, and of course wear a seat belt while driving a car, and avoid the use of mobile phones. Now coming to yoga and meditation. Now there are postures in yoga which are unique as they're inverted postures. They bring the blood supply towards our head and brain. So they relieve anxiety, depression, they boost our memory, concentration, and also cognition. And then there are meditation techniques. Meditation has been shown to improve connections in various regions of the brain. So we will come to yoga and meditation during our session. Some everyday memory helpers. So these are tips. So keep your keys, phones, and glasses in the same place. Now repeat names of new acquaintances, and you can either do it silently or aloud. So nice meeting you, Rita, or nice meeting you, John. And repeat important facts back to people as you talk to them, or even to yourself. Say you come back from your office and you have kept a file in your drawer. So you can tell yourself, oh, I have kept this file in my drawer, and this is an auto reminder for our own system. Then do one thing at a time, as multitasking increases forgetfulness, and mindfulness meditation is a great tool to help, and we will practice that in our session. And last thing is try to engage all your senses. So place items to be remembered at attention grabbing spots along the way, like your medicines. You don't want to forget them. I'm a pharmacist. So these are visual reminders for our system. Now coming to yoga. Now the inverted yoga postures, they help to bring the blood supply towards our head and brain. So they help to relieve anxiety, they improve our focus, concentration, and also they are great to boost our immunity because they improve lymphatic circulation. And lymph is a fluid which removes toxins from our body like dead bacteria, viruses. So this is downward facing dog or Adho Mukha Shwasasana. So if you visit John Hopkins site for how to deal with COVID anxiety, it says that if you have done your downward yoga dog pose today, you are probably already feeling more relaxed. Now then there are standing forward bend or Uttanasana, again an inverted pose. Whenever we do it, make sure you follow with a back stretch to counterbalance the spine, and try to hold a stretch for at least 60 seconds. In case you can hold it for 20 seconds, repeat it 3 times, and if you can hold it for 30 seconds, do one more time. Shoulder stand, Queen of Asanas or Sarvangasana has benefits for the entire system. Probably not the most suitable posture for everyone, especially people with high blood pressure, and there are modifications which can be practiced under the guidance of an experienced teacher. Then whenever we do shoulder stand, we should always do Matsya Asana or fish pose, which is the counter pose. And in fish pose, try to practice deep breathing as our rib cage is expanded. So it helps to improve our lung capacity. Now coming to poses which bring blood supply towards our neck, and they support our thymus gland. Now thymus gland is where T cells develop. And these T cells are like soldiers. They seek out and destroy disease-causing bacteria, viruses, and pathogens. So flow pose and Setubandh Asana are excellent poses that bring blood supply towards the neck. So try to include them to boost your immunity, and they also boost our cognition, and they bring blood supply towards the brain and help to relax our nervous system. So coming to the next one, that is bridge pose or Setubandh Asana. A great pose to help strengthen our back muscles and relieve back pain, as a lot of people who are working from home are experiencing back pain, and people are attending online classes for their children. So Setubandh Asana is a great pose. Now Paschimottanasana, that is head or knee pose. It's a very relaxing pose. It helps to calm the nervous system, and it also gives a very nice gentle massage to all our internal organs. And A slight variation of this asana is Upavishta Konasana, seated wide angle pose. Again, very relaxing for the nervous system, and also a very good pose for women to relieve menstrual and menopausal symptoms, and also it strengthens the bladder muscles, which helps to prevent problems like urinary incontinence. Again, an age related problem. Now, because we have done forward bending, so we will do backward bending. So Bhujangasana, stay in the pose, and in Bhujangasana, try to expand your chest, don't contract it. All the chest opening backward bending poses are great to relieve depression, as they relieve blockages from in and around the heart. So you can practice Bhujangasana, Halasana, then camel pose. Now coming to the next one, because this is a backward bending pose, we should always follow it with child pose or Balasana. So relax in this pose. Now coming to some balancing postures. Now these balancing postures like tree pose or Bhagirath Asana, they are very helpful to improve focus and concentration. So whenever we try to balance our body on one foot, we have to maintain our focus at a point, and in case we lose focus, the body starts to wobble. So tree pose, which is named after Rishi Bhagirath, who stood on one leg for a long time to appease Lord Shiva, to be allowed to bring the river Ganges from heaven to earth. Then there are other postures, balancing postures like Garudasana or warrior pose, Veerbhadra Asana, three, balancing on one foot. So they improve focus and concentration in the body. And the last pose, that has a very long name, and that is called Topu Karnam. It will take us back to our school days. It's called Super Brain Yoga. As our earlobes are believed to contain energy meridians which correspond to the brain, so when you inhale, you squat, it's like chair pose, and then while exhaling, come up and try to do at least 20 sets of this. Now, one more technique which is very helpful is Tratak, where you gaze at a point, and which helps to improve concentration. So it is probably even useful for children, because you see children are not focusing for more than few minutes, so you can make them sit in Tratak pose and look at a point in front of them. Now coming to deep breathing and pranayam, our mind is always racing, and when our mind is racing, it makes it anxious. So the brain cannot take in any new information, let alone remember what's already there. So deep breathing techniques and pranayam, they help to break the cycle of anxious thoughts, and try to practice them in this sequence. Start with Om chanting 3 times, then Kapalabhati pranayam, which is a cleansing technique, and it prepares our body for, just taking a honey test, it prepares our body for pranayam. And then Alom Vilom pranayam, which is excellent to harmonize our nervous system, and it helps to relieve anxiety. Hillary Clinton practiced this when to deal with the election loss in 2016 US presidential elections. Then coming to Bhramri pranayam, where we relax the mind with the help of sound. So try to practice 3 to 4 rounds of Bhramri pranayam. Then at the end, practice slow breathing or diaphragmatic breathing. So starting with fast breathing, and diaphragmatic breathing helps to bring oxygen to the lowest and largest portion of our lungs, and it is excellent to reduce anxiety. There is a technique by Harvard which is pursed lip breathing. So when you take slow, long, deep inhalations and you exhale, you can either purse or pucker your lips to exhale. This helps to keep the airways open by generating a backward pressure. In fact, but in case it feels unnatural to breathe out through your mouth, you can breathe through your nose. That's fine. Now, coming to one technique which has become very popular on WhatsApp groups, that is square breathing or box breathing. Now, square breathing or box breathing includes retention of breath. Because technically speaking, pranayama actually consists of 3 steps. So the first one is purak, that is inhalation, then kumbhak, that is retention, and then rechak, that is exhalation. According to Bhagavad Gita, it's written in verse 4.29. So in square breathing, visualize your breath traveling along a square. As you inhale up, first side of the square, slowly count to 3, then retain the breath across the top, count 1, 2, 3, and exhale down the other side of the square, counting 1, 2, 3, and then again retain the breath. Now, this is an excellent technique to improve our lung efficiency and also to relieve anxiety. So try to include it in your daily practice and try to practice it for at least 10 to 15 minutes every day. Now, coming to meditation. Now, as we just learned that, of course, meditation helps to improve connections in various regions of the brain. And also, meditation helps to improve our cognitive reserve, which is the ability of our brain to switch between different tasks and also allocate resources and even deal with stressful situations. And there are various ways to meditate. So you have to find a technique that best complements your soul by practicing every day. But today we will focus on mindfulness meditation, which is extremely powerful and positive for the brain. And it's becoming very popular, although it's an ancient technique with its roots in Buddhism. Now, let's just understand the concept. And well, as Dr. Sapna mentioned that there was an article in the book, so I wrote an article in the book published on the Yoga Day about mindfulness meditation. So our mind is usually either daydreaming about a past experience or worrying about future events, and focusing on anything for more than a few moments can be very challenging. And in a rush to finish multiple tasks, we often lose connection with the present moment. A study at Harvard found that people spend 46.9% of their waking hours thinking about something other than what they are actually doing. So our mind runs on an autopilot mode, which can make people unhappy, as a wandering mind is an unhappy mind. The research also revealed. Now, mindfulness is the practice of paying attention to what you are experiencing from moment to moment without drifting into the thoughts about the past or concerns about the future, and without analyzing and making judgments about what is going on around you. It helps us to become engaged in daily activities and appreciate life's pleasures as they happen. And this can lead to marked improvement in our concentration, focus, and even happiness. And research has revealed that mindfulness meditation is extremely helpful to relieve stress, treat heart disease, lower blood pressure, reduce pain, improve sleep, improve memory, to even losing weight. We'll come to the example of mindfulness with eating later. So, well, mindfulness is not about being positive all the time. It's about noticing what happens moment to moment, the joyful and the painful. And with practice, it builds awareness, which helps us to deal with life's ups and downs. So it's like a fitness routine for the brain, building a muscle to be present and awake. So we'll learn about a technique from Harvard Health, a basic mindfulness technique. So you can sit on a straight back chair or cross-legged position and focus on one aspect of your breathing, such as sensation of air flowing into your nostrils and out of your mouth, or your abdomen rising and falling as you inhale and exhale. Once you have narrowed your concentration in this way, begin to widen your focus, become aware of sound, sensation, and ideas. Embrace and consider each thought or sensation without judging it good or bad. And if your mind starts to race, return your focus to your breathing and expand your awareness again. Try to practice this for 20 minutes, as most people find that it takes about 20 minutes for the mind to begin to settle. Now, in case your mind is very anxious, as a lot of people are experiencing anxiety because we are facing a threat like the coronavirus. So you can add transcendental meditation to this. So you can add a peace word or mantra to your meditation. So again, when you inhale and on each exhalation, say the word peace, and you can either say it silently or you can chant out loud. When we chant out loud, it helps to drown anxious thoughts. And when stray thoughts interfere, as they will, just greet them, acknowledge them, embrace them, and let them go. And return to your chanting. You can choose any other word. You can choose Shanti, peace, happiness, or anything which can relax your mind. And within few weeks of practice, you should feel your mind becoming calm and centered. Now, it's a very busy world, and some people find it difficult to block off time to meditate with the distractions of smartphones, social media, and our COVID duties. So, if we practice, we can practice mindfulness by paying attention to everything that we do throughout the day. So, our life becomes a continuous meditation. So, we can choose any task to practice informal mindfulness like eating, walking, showering, playing with a child, or even while eating. So let's take the example of mindful eating. Now, mindful eating encourages us to chew our food slowly without just distractions. So getting rid of television or even your emails or WhatsApp messages. As when we do so, we don't enjoy the food, and also we can't stop when we are not even hungry. Just take the example of a chocolate. So it's very easy to consume lots of chocolates while reading or watching television. So to eat mindfully, all we need to do is tune in our senses, that is sight, hearing, touch, smell, and taste. So mindfully eating chocolate. So select a piece of chocolate, notice what flavors and textures you are craving. Become aware of any guilt and set it aside. Sit down to savor your choice. And as you unwrap the chocolate, listen to the sounds and notice the aroma. Take a small bite, then pause. Become aware of the textures and flavors on your tongue. And as you begin to chew, notice how the flavors, textures, and aromas change. And when you have fully experienced your bite, swallow, pause to notice how long the flavor lingers, and repeat till it's finished. Mindfulness also helps people to recognize emotional eating, because sometimes we eat to relax our mind. Now, a wonderful example of mindful eating was observed at the Google headquarters in California when they invited a Vietnamese monk, Thich Anh, for a session on mindful meditation. And they had a lunch devoted to mindful eating. And a lot of Google employees came. And the event was so well received that it has become a ritual at the Google headquarters in Mountain View, California. And these silent lunches help these tired minds who are constantly looking at the computer to relax and also revive the corporate culture of innovation. And many other companies like Apple, Nike, Goldman Sachs, they have started teaching mindfulness in their offices. Now, one more thing that we can all do for our mind is practicing gratitude. So being positive and practicing gratitude and affirmations helps to boost the power of our brain and helps to keep us positive. So write down and even provide details about what you are grateful for and how it's improving your life. And whenever you wash your hands, as all of us are doing many times a day, take a moment and say to yourself, I fill my heart with gratitude for what's going well. You could feel gratitude for a roof over your head or the meal that you're going to eat, or you can even practice visualization. So you can either tell yourself or visualize, I'm well, I'm happy, my body is healthy, my lungs are perfectly healthy, and they're pumping a healthy amount of oxygen with each breath. I thank my lungs for keeping me alive. Or I wake up with clarity in my thoughts. You can send any message to the universe. This is the power of positive thinking. So when we emit positive energy, we feel positive and we get positive things back in our life. It's the law of attraction. So I express my gratitude and my thanks to Dr. Sapna Nanda for organizing this wonderful session and for sharing knowledge with everyone and thinking about all these out-of-box ideas to keep people connected. And also the faculty at Government College of Yoga for providing all the backup support. And also express my gratitude to all the frontline soldiers who are fighting the COVID battle to keep us safe. So I'm wishing you peace, light, and energy. And stay happy, healthy, calm, and active. Thank you, and Hari Om Tat Sat.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your this beautiful, wonderful presentation. Now I request Mr. Kulwant to take the next session, the practical session of Dhyan meditation. Mr. Kulwant, please.
Hari Om Tat Sat, Hari Om Tat Sat, Hari Om Tat Sat. Heartfelt welcome to everyone to this meditation session by Shalom. It was indeed very enlightening, and I'm extremely grateful to her that for being here. And mine is indeed.
सर आपकी आवाज क्लियर नहीं आ रही.
Mine is indeed an invaluable biocomputer. If its energy is harnessed in a direction, then it can do wonders. But if misdirected, it can be our worst enemy. Hello, am I audible?
थोड़ी सी आवाज में क्लैरिटी कम है. प्लीज सी के आपका माइक ठीक है.
माइक तो ठीक है मेरा.
ओके, चलो प्लीज कंटिन्यू.
Now, is it audible? Now,
मिस्टर रवि,
Yes, ma'am.
कैन यू प्लीज चेक कि आवाज में क्लैरिटी क्यों नहीं है.
okay, ma'am, I'll continue.
ओके, प्लीज कंटिन्यू.
Is it audible now?
Yeah.
Okay.
इट्स बेटर नाउ. प्लीज कंटिन्यू.
Thank you. So mind is such an entity which, if managed well, can do wonders in our lives. But if it is misdirected, then it can really make our lives hell. Because it has got the tendencies of oscillating from one extreme to another. But luckily, we have got a knack called meditation with which we can harness this energy very well. So today I'm going to share a meditation with you, which a mystic Tilopa called a hollow bamboo. So for that meditation, I request you all to be seated in a comfortable posture with your eyes gently closed, spine and neck comfortably erect, palms on your knees, palms facing downwards or upwards, fingers gently curled. Weight even on your sitting bones. Feel your sitting bones. Feel the gravity. And allow your body to be absolutely still and comfortable. Just a feeling of deep surrender. And let this surrender be irrational and illogical. So keep your intellect at the rest for the time being and just enjoy your stillness. Experience it thoroughly. Be absolutely still like a statue. And feel the silence and serenity associated with this stillness and solidness. Now bring your awareness to your breath, the incoming as well as the outgoing breath. And let the breathing be as natural as possible. There's no need to alter the natural pace of your breathing. Let your consciousness move with your breath, with your incoming as well as outgoing breath. Be still, be calm and poised, and move with your breath. Be one with your breath. Be totally involved in the practice. Totally immerse yourself in the practice. And when you become absolutely still, when you reach the state of thoughtlessness, just visualize that you are a hollow bamboo, just a hollow space. Your body is like a hollow bamboo. And feel the emptiness, inner emptiness. Mind will constantly come and try to distract you with so many arguments. Simply be aware of the tricks played by the mind. Simply being aware of the tricks played by the mind is sufficient to enter into the hollow space. So you can remain in this state for as long as you wish. Feeling your emptiness, feeling your hollowness. Feeling the inner peace, deep silence induced by this practice. Now gently externalize your consciousness. Be aware of your surroundings. Listen to the outside sounds. And gently rub your palms until they are warm. Place your palms on your face. Feel the warmth. Blink your eyes a few times. And gently open your eyes. Thank you so much for practicing with us. Have a great time and keep practicing and stay healthy. Thank you.
Thank you,
Over to
Kulwant sir.
Roshan ji.
Thank you so much. कुलवंत सर के साथ इतना साइलेंस में चले गए थे, मैं खुद ही आंखें बंद करके बैठ गया था। तो जो आज के जो वेबिनार का जो विशेष उद्देश्य था कि ब्रेन तो हमारा चलता है, माइंड से थॉट्स आते हैं, ब्रेन वर्किंग, और उसके साथ साथ बॉडी पे हमारी पे इफेक्ट आता है। तो कुछ आसन के प्राणायाम के माध्यम से, और मैम ने जो बताया कि कुछ खाने से किस तरह से हम जब खाना खा रहे हैं तो खाना खाते हुए हम टीवी देख रहे हैं, मोबाइल देख रहे हैं, लैपटॉप देख रहे हैं, यानी कि ओवरऑल हम उस मूवमेंट में प्रेजेंट कैसे रह सके, अवेयर कैसे रह सके, तो माइंड बॉडी का कनेक्शन कैसे बने। तो सर ने बड़े उस सेशन को डीपली प्रैक्टिस करवाया हमें, प्रैक्टिकली। सो ज़्यादा समय मैं नहीं लेता हुआ, एक बार फिर से कुलवंत सर का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। और अगेन मैं माइक हैंड ओवर कर रहा हूँ मैडम प्रिंसिपल डॉक्टर सपना नंदा जी को, कि वो एक बार फिर से हमारे मुख्य मेहमान डॉक्टर मैडम शालू जी का धन्यवाद करें। जी मैम।
Thank you, Roshan. Roshan, are there any questions in the chat box?
Question with the Kulwant sir now.
One or two.
Kulwant sir, you may check the question, please. 1 minute.
If there are any questions, we can take a few for a minute or two.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Okay.
There's no question.
Fine. So we are thankful to Madam Shalu, who has very beautifully explained the ways to improve the power of mind, and she has given very practical tips how to keep our brain active and young. Our viewers, especially yoga lovers, yoga practitioners, yoga therapists, and yoga trainers, they have been definitely benefited from the very exhaustive and scientific explanation given by ma'am on various asanas, their benefit to the brain, and various breathing exercises which can help us in keeping our brain active and young. And lastly, the very beautiful technique of mindfulness, especially the attitude of gratitude, has added value to this session. A great big thank you to ma'am for being with us for this seminar and sharing your wisdom, your thoughts, your experience with our viewers. And thank you, Mr. Kulwant, for very soothing, relaxing session after the heavy session. Okay.
Ma'am, one question is there.
Yes, we can take.
Whether this meditation can be done before sleep?
Okay. Hanji, over to you, ma'am. Or Kulwant can share.
Yeah, of course. It can be done prior to sleep.
So it will give a good sleep.
It will deepen. Yeah, it will be a dreamless sleep.
Absolutely.
Ma'am, I have another question.
Yes.
So, this session will be available on Facebook page of the Yoga Government College?
Yes. We'll definitely share on our Facebook page. Definitely. For the benefit of those who couldn't join us. And also on YouTube.
And YouTube also.
We'll share it on YouTube channel of the college. I request everyone to subscribe our channel so that you can get notification of all the videos we share on YouTube channel.
Thank you, ma'am.
And last but not least, big thank you to all our viewers who could spare time to join us this evening on this webinar. Thank you so much. Thank you, and all the support to Mr. Ravi, who provided all the technical support. Thank you so much, Mr. Ravi. And with this, we conclude the session here. Thank you so much. One and all, stay blessed, stay healthy, stay happy, and enjoy your day. Namaskar.
Thank you, ma'am.
नमस्कार.
Thank you.
Thank you.